Alright, what's up, y'all? It's your boy G-Wiz, man. I'm back with another video on the SSL SiX. I finally had some time to get everything hooked up last night and routed from my Apollo. And I've been using Pro Tools and routing my signal out to my SSL SiX. And I gotta tell you, man, this thing sounds amazing. This is probably one of the best investments that I've made in audio hardware since my Apollo, probably. But yeah, man, I just want to show y'all a couple things how impressive this thing is. So check this out. All right, so I'm using Apollo Twin MK2, the newer version, not the latest version, but the one just before the latest one that came out, I believe. So as y'all know, this has two ins and it has 4 outs right here in the back. But I'm also learning about these other outs that you can use here too from your headphone jack. I'll do another video on that to show y'all how to get a couple of more outputs out of here. It's a little workaround that you got to do. You got to do it separate from your traditional outs here going into here. But once you get it figured out, it's kind of like a back and forth switch that you'll have to hit in console control in the UA software. But once that's done, you'll be able to go back and forth and add 2 additional outputs right here that can go right into your board. So if you check it out, I got my signals routed 1 and 2 right here. 3 and 4 is going to the stereo fader right here, and we're coming out of Pro Tools. This is a pretty simple session I'm doing here. It's just a 2-track beat with a couple of vocals, so it was really easy for me to route that out. But it goes right into these inputs right here. Again, you got your analog pre's and EQs and all that stuff. Let me play some stuff. This is playing with no compression right now. I'm gonna have this routed to where since this is only 2-channel, I'm gonna be able to go back in 2 channel at a time. Nothing much more than that with this interface. But if I choose to upgrade to a bigger interface, I'll do something like that. I like a little simple workflow, so I just kind of keep it simple here. So we got vocal coming in on this one. We can mute that if we want. I got another vocal coming in on this one, and instrumentals coming in on this. But what I wanted to show y'all was the compression. The compression on this thing is crazy. This is no compressor. Once I engage the compressor, use a little bit of the makeup, it gives it a really nice smooth sound. Everybody's also really fascinated with. Everybody else is also fascinated with the G series bus compressor that's here. And I tell you, once this thing is engaged, man, it just takes things to a whole new level. This is with no compression, as you can hear right now. But once I engage this, you can see how it really blows it up. Glues everything together nice and tight, and I mean, it sounds great, man. It sounds absolutely phenomenal. I've been using the UA plugins for the SSL, and I can honestly say, man, it's pretty much night and day. Although they do sound absolutely great as well, but this one gives you a little more oomph to it and a little more body, I feel like, which is really nice. I still have yet to dump everything from here back into Pro Tools. I'll do another video on that a little later. But so far so good, man. It's sounding great. I haven't had many issues at all, really. The only issue that I ran into was I was getting a really loud hum from my mixer to my monitors once I had it all connected. And I figured it was some kind of ground loop or something going on. So I went and got one of those. I've seen a lot of people pull the 3rd prong out of the power cord, and that's probably something that you might not want to do. I don't know how safe that is. I'm not an electrician, but I wouldn't trust it. So I went down to Home Depot. I got one of those 3-prong to 2-prong adapters. Plug that in, everything's solid. 75-cent fix. So anybody who's having ground loop issues, just go down to Home Depot or your closest hardware store and try to find you one of those adapters, and it'll save you some time and some nightmares and some headache, man, because it's pretty tough to deal with. Other than that, man, everything else is pretty smooth. One thing I do notice is that the board heats up. It heats up a significant amount. There's no fan in there, but they have some ventilation holes back here, if you can see those. So there's no actual fan in the unit, but I don't think it gets too hot to where it's going to cause any issues. Fresh out of the box, I noticed that once it started to heat up, I got a little bit of you know how it smells when you're burning something electric, but it wasn't quite that burnt smell. It was just like the smell of a new piece of gear. So don't get alarmed if you smell a little something. It's just your gear heating up, and it's, you know, just warming up, man, getting ready for you to push some tones through it. So everything's good, man. I'll do another video and show you exactly what I did on routing the outputs, because that can be a little tricky. A lot of people are going to look for 1, 2, 3, and 4, but you're going to have more of a monitor left, monitor right, and then monitor left, monitor right as your 1 and 2, and then outputs 3 and 4 are line outputs. I'm going to figure this out, because this headphone is actually an output that is 9 and 10 in the console. Once I figure that out, I'm going to show you guys how to take advantage of having a couple of more outputs here, so you'll be able to do 6 outputs at a time. More than likely it'll be 4, and then you're going to have to come back and do those other 2 from here, because you can't do those at the same time. Another thing that I noticed too was when you're doing the outputs from here, monitor left, monitor right, you're going to want to make sure that your monitor wheel volume is turned up here, because this is how you're going to control it right here. Without that, you're going to be looking like, okay, where's my signal? But you got to remember it's coming out of monitor left, monitor right. So you got to make sure that monitor's turned up. And this is going to be pretty much your output right here to control that. So easy fix, man. A couple things you got to do up inside of Pro Tools to get the I/O stuff together. What I did was I went to my I/O setting. And then once that's open, you're going to want to go all the way through all of these from input. You're going to want to highlight everything. You want to delete it all, and then just click the default tab. You want to do the same thing for output and bus. And that's going to make sure your outputs, your buses, and your inputs are all set up for your Apollo or whatever interface that you're going to be using. So pretty easy. Just took a little time to, you know, get it all right, done the right way. But for the most part, I'm very happy with it. Again, sounds great. Faders feel great. You can really push this thing. I'm a big fan of it, man. Love the compressor. Great job, guys. That compressor just takes things to a whole nother level. And don't forget that you can still have your processing inside of here and run it through here too. A lot of people are going to want to maybe have the raw signal hit here first and then back into Pro Tools for processing. But if you want to add just a little bit of flavor on the channels that don't have EQ, you can do that too. That's not such a bad idea. Then just run it through, bounce it right back to your DAW. So far so good, SSL. I'm really feeling what y'all doing. A lot of people were complaining that this thing wasn't an interface, and I appreciate the fact that it's not an interface, because we all know Universal Audio is really, really known for their converters, and we want to use high class, top of the line converters at all times. I don't know how well SSL does with their converters, but their other circuitry is absolutely amazing. So if it's not broke, don't fix it, man. So this is your boy G-Wiz, man. As far as signal flow goes and getting everything routed, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. You know, if you guys got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. Y'all want me to try something out on the SiX? I'm actually gonna hook up some outboard compressors and some reverbs and stuff like that too, to run through the inserts on this thing, give it a little more flavor. So once I get that done, I'll make another video, show you how to get your sound going through your outboard stuff, back into your board, back to your DAW, all that good stuff, man. So like I said, subscribe, like, whatever, you know. Leave me some comments, man. Shoot me some ideas, and I'll get you going, get you cooking. Peace.